Hello Varlets. I've been playing a lot of the new Orthus Offensive mission in an attempt to find the most efficient method of completing it on Damnation. This is the regular Damnation version, not the hard mode. Why might I be doing this? Because it's a pretty good orange weapon farming mission. Most of my runs take around 4.5 minutes on average, which translates to rolling a random orange tier weapon every 7 minutes or so, including loading times and cutscenes. While not as valuable as Plasteel, being able to roll so many orange weapons in such a short time means it's a decent method of trying to roll for blessings on various weapons. Sometimes you might even get lucky and get a very serviceable road that just needs a little bit of tweaking. In any case, whether you choose to do this farm is up to you. Of course, a coordinated team will perform better than trying to do it with a bunch of randoms, most of the time. In this video, I'll be going over some of the most optimal team compositions, loadouts, and strategies that have allowed us to get a Damnation clear in under 4 minutes. This also applies to hard mode. I'll show you the run at the end of the video so you can see what continuous testing and optimizing eventually resulted in. Now, for some context, my team and I have tested running various combinations of every class. From running all 4 of the same class to various combinations and builds, I have come to the conclusion that there is an optimal choice to be made and that some combinations will just be worse than others. What I'm going to do now is break down what I think are the optimal builds for each class, which includes their role, talent tree, and weapon choices for this mission specifically. To do this farm, you will also need to have unlocked and completed the hard mode at least once on any difficulty. This gives you access to the Bell Altar, which allows you to skip straight to the final arena. Starting with probably the most reliable and consistent class, the Ogryns. Ogryns are probably the best class suited to running the mission efficiently. Why? 2 words. Ripper Guns. Ripper Guns have the ability to absolutely demolish the void shields of the twins, regardless of which one you are dealing with. Ogryns are also very tanky with built-in damage resistance and a deep health pool, allowing them to weather more mistakes and better deal with corruption damage. On screen now is the talent tree from the heavy weapons Ogryn, but using a Mark V Ripper Gun and Frag Bomb instead. With this build, your role is to destroy the void shields of the twins, with the priority being the melee twin, since her shield takes more range damage. Once her shield is broken, shift your attention to the melee twin and break his shield as well. If you have Light 'em Up active from Point Blank Barrage, dump as much ammo as you can into the ranged twin to build up burn stacks and bleed damage. Your team's collective priority is to kill the ranged twin as soon as you can. An alternative weapon to use if you don't have or don't want to use a Ripper Gun is to use the Gorgonum Heavy Stubber. While not as strong as the Ripper Gun at breaking void shields, the added range and heavy hits allows you to better deal with Rager packs and Mauler spawns before they get too close to you. As for your melee weapon, you can use whatever you'd like. If you want to deal more single target damage, the new shovels are great at doing that. On the other hand, if you want a more defensive weapon with strong crowd control, the Mark IIIB Bully Club works well for this and is a personal favourite of mine. In reality, as long as you have the Ripper Gun on you, most Ogryn builds can work, be it a shield taunting one or a bull rush one. But if you want to tear shields apart, you can't go wrong with the heavy weapons Ogryn build and a Ripper Gun. Next up, Veterans. The main reason for wanting to bring a veteran is simply because of the focus target keystone. When combined with Focus Fire, it allows you to mark an enemy, causing them to take up to 32% more damage from everyone. If you combine this with the shredding power of the Ripper Gun, you'll literally destroy the Void Shield in less than 5 seconds. You'll see this in action in the 4-minute run clip at the end. The damage boost against ping targets also makes dealing with packs of elites and waves of specials a lot easier, not to mention they are easier for everyone to see as well. As for the rest of the Vets build, there are 2 paths you can take depending on how confident you are in your own ability and how confident you are in your team. The first one is a Demolition support build, which gives your team ammo, grenades, toughness, and the ability to revive down allies in clutch situations. This comes up more often than regular missions, so it's worth taking in my opinion. This build also allows you to chuck grenades very frequently to create space and even wipe out armored packs every now and then. The second one is a more offensive stealth build that is much better at dealing with the twins, but doesn't provide your team with as much support as the last build. Both builds are viable and guidelines on what has worked for me. Make adjustments as you see fit. Weapon-wise, most ranged weapons will work nicely in ripping apart their void shields. Personally, I have found the Agrippina Slug Shotgun works very well, to my surprise. The Slug allows you to take out specials and armored units without a problem. Meanwhile, dumping regular shots and slugs into the melee twin's shield does a surprising amount of work. Other notable weapons my team has tried includes the Agrippina Brace Autogun, the Bolter, and the Plasma Gun. As for your melee weapon, the new Vet Shovels can put in work for sure, but for me, I like the old reliable standard issue Munitorum Shovel. Mobility is key, so weapons like the Combat Blades and Tactical Axes can work to keep you moving around and away from danger. A special mention for the chain swords and chain weapons in general. They can really put in some work when it comes to breaking the void shields and deal a respectable amount of damage when the opportunity presents itself. Moving on, we have Zealots next. Zealots are also a very strong and flexible class to pick for this mission. They can be built in different ways and still be an asset in pushing the mission along. All build paths are practically useful in one way or another, but the greatest asset a Zealot brings to the table is its mobility and speed. I would say the Zealot is the best class for removing obstacles for the team, be it priority targets like elites or specials, even Poxwalker hordes, and importantly, triggering the toxic gas mines the ranged twin keeps tossing all over the place. One of the key roles to keeping a smooth encounter is making sure the team has the space to move around. As a Zealot, you have a lot of speed to easily trigger the mines without getting caught in them, especially if you're running a stealth build. While I stand by my opinion that most Zealot builds will work, the one I offer here provides a lot of defensive support for the team. It is also very forgiving to use if you are still a little shaky in your combat skills for Damnation level missions. This build gives you all the tools you will need to mitigate as much danger as possible during the mission. Blades of Faith gives you the ability to deal with faraway specials easily no matter your ranged weapon of choice. This is useful against pesky bombers and snipers. Wrath Be Swift ensures you can never be stunned while running, solidifying your mobility to move around and trigger mines without worry. Shield of Contempt gives you and everyone in your team a massive damage reduction buff if damage is taken. Beacon of Purity helps shave away the corruption damage that is slowly chipping away at your health. This works even better if you're running corruption resistance and have a very high health pool. For our combat ability, we have chosen Chorus of Spiritual Fortitude for this build. It has the ability to not only create space for your team and increase their survivability, but it can also stagger lock the twins after their void shield is broken. Finally, Swift Certainty provides you with the all-important plus 10% sprint speed to further increase your ability to move around the arena with ease. Again, if you have a stealth build in place or a Fury of the Faithful build you are using, it will likely work just fine. Zealots, in many ways, are like Ogryns in terms of usefulness and build flexibility. As for weapons, chain weapons are really strong, and taking any of them will ensure you have a pretty easy time breaking shields and dealing damage. High mobility weapons will always be good, so combat blades and combat axes are a solid choice for both movement and damage. Melee weapons in general are free and easy. Pick what you like and feel comfortable using, though some will have an easier time than others. For ranged weapons, however, I think the Flamer is by far the most useful weapon you can bring on a Zealot. A single Flamer on the team makes dealing with Poxwalker hordes and elite packs that spawn during the Ventilation Fan event much easier. During the Ventilation Fan event, you can use your speed to run to the next safe spot ahead of your team, turn around, and then cover their escape by burning the Poxwalkers that try to chase them. It's a simple and yet very helpful thing to do for your team. If you already have a Flamer on the team, then a Bolter is a decent choice for dealing with high pressure situations where mag dumping is going to save you or a teammate. That being said, weapons like the Revolver and Brace autoguns will work nicely too. The strength of the Zealot lies mostly with its presence rather than its weapons. The class can make most weapons serviceable anyway, so being able to contribute more outside of doing damage alone can make a run go very smoothly. Finally, we have Psykers. Psykers probably have the roughest time in this mission. They are squishy, don't have mobility or escape tools, and don't have the strongest DPS options compared to other classes. In my testing, a team of 4 Psykers with all the 4 staffs performed the worst, taking almost 11 minutes and several deaths to complete the mission. Now that's not to say Psykers are bad, it's just that having more than one is probably going to affect your team's single target damage output if you are going for speed. That being said, you could probably pivot into a gun Psyker rather than a traditional 4-staff Psyker to increase your damage capabilities for the team. For this build, however, I'm going to focus on using a Psyker in the traditional way, with the use of a 4-staff. Where a Psyker shines in this manner is the ability to crowd control basically the entire arena. Because the map is so small and enemies are often very concentrated, a Smite plus Pegatus combo can very often shut down enemy advances before it becomes a problem. This is the build I played around with while doing my runs, and my focus was removing hordes and stunning elites for my team to take out with ease. In my build, I take Venting Shriek because the ability to save a teammate from a Poxhound is really useful, especially if they get caught out during the Ventilation Fan event. It also gives you the option to push your crowd control a little further to buy you and your team more time. However, if you would like to offer your team more cover since there is none in the arena, you can easily pivot the talent points to pick up Dome Shield instead of Venting Shriek with no problems at all. Because Psykers don't have the movement of Zealots or the ability to go invisible or the tankiness of an Ogryn, they need to rely on their dodging and blocking alone to stay alive. For this reason, I feel that kinetic deflection offers a lot of benefits in terms of keeping yourself safe from attacks for longer, at least long enough to buy your team time to come and save you. This is especially the case if the melee twin decides to make you her object of violent affection. For your weapons, the Pagata Staff is probably going to be your best option for both horde clear and range boss DPS. Stacking up Soul Blaze does alright damage, but you can always switch to your melee weapon after to further increase your damage output against the twins. The Trauma Staff is a strong alternative for dealing with elites more effectively and can deal with hordes decently well, even clearing space for your team to run through during the Ventilation Fan event. Your melee weapons are where most of your boss damage output is going to come from, so bringing one that can put in work will help a lot. The Chainsword is a good choice, providing a strong mix of mobility and damage. Dueling Swords and Combat Axes are good choices as well, offering a more safer way of getting damage without having to rev up the weapon and commit. Force Swords are an interesting choice. They function similarly to the Chainswords, the Deimos and Obscurus at least, but they offer a lot more defensive benefits with its push and push attack, allowing you to stagger multiple enemies and even knock down Ragers and Maulers from some distance. Try out different weapons to see what works best for you. With all 4 classes covered, we now have what I feel are the optimal builds for efficiently running the Orthus Offensive mission. One of each class works fine, but the core is really having at least one Ripper Ogryn and one Focus Target Veteran. After that, you can mix and match whatever else you'd like. The run, in which we completed in under 4 minutes, consisted of 2 Focus Target Veterans and 2 Ripper Gun Ogryns. Before I end the video and show you the example clip, the builds here also work on hard mode as well. That being said, hard mode is more of a test of situational awareness, your ability to react and respond to the rapid changes in the flow of combat, and of course, your combat skill. No build will carry hard mode alone without sufficient skill, but bringing the right build in will make going further a lot easier. The rest will be up to you and your team to see through. Some general tips before I close out. Number 1, always aim to take out the ranged twin first. He is the single biggest threat on the battlefield and needs to be put down. Number 2, watch your back. Elite packs can spawn from doors behind you, and in the middle of combat, you might miss out on your sound cues and end up taking a devastating blow. Number 3, do not neglect to kill specials. Trappers, Poxhounds, Bombers and Flamers must die as soon as possible because their presence limits your movement in one way or another. You already have toxic minds to deal with, don't let them add more problems. Number 4, while the twins are bosses, they are built a lot like a Mauler and have carapace armor for their head, and both flak and unarmored for their body depending on where you hit. This means unless you have a weapon that is designed effectively for carapace weak spots, like the Agrippina Slug is, gearing up for flak and unarmored damage for body shots will probably be better on all your weapons. Number 5, please remember to use your medical stims. So many pubs I play with end up dying while holding on to it because they either forgot it was there or they were saving it for Darktide 2. Generally speaking, if using it would prevent you from dying, then it's a good time to use it before the situation gets worse. Alright, that's it from me. I have thoroughly enjoyed playing the Orthus Offensive because not only is it a great boss fight, but it also forces you to think and strategize your builds to deal with the situation as it unfolds, especially on hard mode. It was a lovely exercise in finding out what works best and what doesn't. I hope you found this video useful in some way, and of course, I wouldn't have covered all of the powerful builds for running the mission efficiently, but these are just the ones that I have used in my own experience and have performed to a respectable standard. If you have used a build that has helped contribute towards your success, especially for hard mode, go ahead and share them in the comments to help everyone else too. Here's the 4-minute run next. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Varlets.
Brother, if only we could make this last.
You never change, sister. Still playing with your food.
There's no flavour without sport. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this.